It is Friday, the 8th day of November 2024. Good evening and welcome to Newswatch on Hope TV, the station where you look and live. On today's conundrum, we will be taking a look at the femicide menace in our nation, Kenya, and possible remedies. Stay tuned for that towards the end of the bulletin. I'm Tess Njenga and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. Let's kick off. President William Ruto has presided over the second edition of the Maasai Cultural Festival in Samburu County, an event aimed at celebrating the traditions, customs, and lifestyle of the Maasai people. The festival is an annual week-long platform for celebrating and showcasing Maa cultural expressions. And as Dolly Murigi reports, President Ruto used the cultural event to rally the Maa community to shun retrogressive and destructive practices in the society.
The festive, which began on Thursday this week at the Samburu National Park, features a wide array of cultural activities, including traditional dances, music, storytelling, craft, providing attendees an immersive experience of Maasai culture. Speaking during the celebrations in Samburu County, President William Ruto called upon the community to protect the children from harmful traditions and use culture to foster growth.
We must protect our children. And culture and custom is one instrument that we must use to protect our children from abuse, to protect our children from strange character and strange cultures that adulterate our nation and our belief, especially as a community of Kenyans. Kwa hivyo, mimi nawauliza watu wa Samburu, watu wa Maa community, tunataka watoto wa community hii wasiwachwe nyuma kwa mambo ya masomo. Tunataka tuhakikisha kwamba watoto wetu wanapata nafasi ya kusoma.
Organized by the county governments of Narok, Kajiado and Samburu through the Maa Economic Bloc and led by Governors Patrick Tutu, Joseph Olelenku and Jonathan Lati, the event underscores a shared identity and unity across counties.
We are not just talking about culture here. We are talking matters that affect us economically, socially, and even economically. As the Maa nation, we want to play our central role in supporting the advancement of our country, Kenya, to make our contribution as the Maa nation in solidarity with the rest of the nation of Kenya in support of your government, Mr. President.
Sisi kama jamii ya Wamasai, tunajua kuna mambo mengi ambayo yanafanyika katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Lakini sisi tumeamua kutoka Samburu, kutoka Laikipia, kutoka hapa Narok na hapa Samburu na kwingineko, pahali hawa watu wako, tutakupea support, uendelea na serikali yako ili tukufuate mpaka mwisho.
The festival aims to create an annual week-long platform for celebrating and showcasing Maa cultural expressions, offering space for public performance, creative production and exhibitions.
This is the northern Kenya. That is Meru, Mount Kenya.
And as the Maa celebration continued, the board against the female genital mutilation has implored the community to stop the harmful practice and urged parents to keep an eye on the children, especially during the festive season.
Worldwide, the Maasai culture is really celebrated. Besides that, we have other cultures that are overtaken by events like the female genital mutilation.
We are here at the Maa Cultural Festival just to say that yes, we have good culture, we have a good way of dressing, we have good beadwork, we have lovely songs, traditional songs, we have medicine among our people, but there is a culture that we are really fighting, which is female genital mutilation. And it's a practice that where I sit as the CEO, it's time is up for us.
Dolly Murigi for Hope TV.
Much appreciated, Dolly Mwirigi, for that report. Now, Nyeri Archbishop Anthony Muheria has criticized the government for or rather has criticized the government for being out of touch with the struggles of ordinary Kenyans, particularly the poor. Speaking during the canonization mass of Father Joseph Aramano in Nyeri, the Archbishop highlighted the government's policies, accusing it of making decisions without considering the impact they have on vulnerable communities. The Archbishop called for more government empathy and the urgent need to prioritize the welfare of all Kenyans, particularly the most vulnerable.
Competing in showing power. Our leaders are thinking way too much about their image and about their future, and not thinking about the image of the poor, the sick. With the shift of the NHIF to SHIF, we don't seem to have had that thought of the sick. People who die because they can't get services. We must learn humility, especially in leadership.
The Embu County Social Health Authority SHA branch has teamed up with the National Government Administration Officers Ngao and the county government to ramp up registration of households into the new medical scheme. Consequently, the teams have formed a joint secretariat that will spearhead the registration exercise across the county with a view of onboarding all eligible households. County Commissioner Jacob Buo said they target to register 206,000 households into the scheme by the end of December to enable them access quality healthcare services without financial difficulties. According to the County Health CEC Jamal Runyenje, so far registration was close to half of the target population, with 105,000 having been on board.
Because that is the way to go. Initially we had system challenges which we've actually addressed. Currently we have technical people from the consortium who are providing the services to us.
Mpaka sasa tumesajili watu 1,105, 105,000. Total population sisi kama idara ya afya tuna project Embu County 2024 iko na watu 1,685. So katikati ya wale 105,000 ambaye tumesajili already, kuna wengine ambaye ni viongozi katika nyumba, na zile nyumba ziko na wananchi katikati ya 3 na 4 kulingana na statistics ya Embu County. Tumeunda kamati katikati ya serikali ya jimbo na serikali ya national na parastatal ya SHA. Majukumu yetu ni ya kuhakikisha wananchi wetu wa Embu County wamesajiliwa, na sisi tumeanza kwa kishindo na furaha kwa sababu kwa sasa Embu iko namba 5 katika county zote 47.
Both SHA, the national government, Ngao, and the county government, we shall push the figures and register our people to SHA.
Environment Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale has imposed a ban on all farming activities in government forests, including those in Cheptais and Kaberwa forests in the Mount Elgon constituency. This follows the discovery that these forests have been severely degraded. Speaking in Kaberwa, Duale emphasized the importance of environmental conservation and urged residents involved in farming and livestock keeping in the Mount Elgon forests to vacate the areas before the government takes further action.
No cultivation policy across all natural forests, and I'm issuing an immediate and total ban on cultivation in Cheptais and any other legally designated natural forest within our country. These ecosystems must be safeguarded to maintain their ecological integrity and biodiversity. To all our communities, government officials, and particularly Kenya Forest Service, who are doing a very good job. Hear these: actions that compromise the integrity of Mount Elgon or any of our natural forests will not be tolerated. Anyone, including government officials, found engaging in activities that harm this ecosystem, be it through collusion, encroachment, illegal cultivation will face severe consequences, including our own dismissal. They are the foundation of our national well-being. Our forests are not mere resources. They are the foundation of our forests.
And government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura has officially announced the upcoming Africa Conference on Deafness set to take place in Nairobi from November 27th to the 29th of November 2024. The conference themed Empowering Silence, Strengthening Policy, Technology and Collaboration for Inclusion of the Deaf will bring together key stakeholders from across the continent to discuss critical issues related to the inclusion of deaf individuals in society. The conference is expected to attract policymakers, technology innovators, advocates and members of the deaf community from across Africa, all coming together to address the barriers faced by deaf individuals and explore solutions for their greater inclusion in society.
About 18 countries are going to be participating at the Weston Hotel, and you can join physically from 9 a.m. or virtually, so that we do get the impetus and to learn. I'm very proud because Kenya Society for the Deaf Children is a statutory organization established through an act of parliament in 1858. So this institution is 66 years old, and it is strong. And I was very happy to speak to the trustees and board members, board directors, just before we came for this launch. And they told me one thing that is extremely encouraging, that they are not interested in other matters other than leaving a legacy as to ensure that that child who is deaf gets the best, in life.
Well, on that note, let us take a short break on Newswatch tonight. We have more coming up on the other side.
Coming soon. This November.
He's the God who raised up Moses in a palace only to use him in the wilderness, and raised up Joseph in the wilderness only to use him in a palace.
Young person, God is at work within your heart. What does it say? He is at work. It's Him who is at work in you.
If you are going to be successful in the service of God, it calls for sacrifice.
We get to appraise what God is doing, and by His invitation, partner with Him.
Come on, keep moving. He's inspiring you to challenge that which seems impossible.
What He would require of us is to declare, send me Lord, regardless of our background.
Only on Hope TV.
We are turning 5. Sita Mombasa invites you to their 5th anniversary celebration happening on Sunday the 10th of November 2024 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Join us for a time of worship, celebration, and the word that will be shared by the presiding Bishop of Sitam, Reverend Callisto Odede, titled Break Camp Advance, drawn from Deuteronomy 1:7. Sita Mombasa is located along Park Lane next to Light Academy in Nyali. You are welcome, and bring a friend along.
Welcome back. Now, Cooperative Bank, Aqua for All, Water.org, and Water Sanitation Services Provider Association, WASPA, have announced a partnership that marks a significant step forward in improving water and sanitation services in Kenya. The collaboration aims to catalyze funding for medium-sized infrastructure projects in the water, sanitation, and hygiene sector. The Ultimate beneficiaries of the partnership are water services providers, also known as water companies countrywide. The partnership agreement will see Aqua for All support the bank to disburse 500 million shillings to finance at least 15 infrastructure projects to enhance access to safe drinking water and improve sanitation for 50,000 people in urban, peri-urban and rural populations in Kenya. Suba North Member of Parliament Millie Odhiambo has called on the youth to embrace creative writing as a means of expressing themselves. Speaking during the celebration of International Authors Day and first-time authors and early career researchers at Aga Khan University, the legislator reiterated on the need to create more employment opportunities for young Kenyans through expanding the publication industry. Her sentiments were echoed by other key speakers present who say Africa is rich in culture which can be best documented through publications for future reference.
I was very honored to learn that we actually have herbs that can cure cancer. We have herbs that can deal with many, many issues, and I'm so glad that the university has a special institution called the one that we are Brain and Mind Institute. And can you imagine our Brain and Mind Institute can also benefit from herbs about some of the things that we are struggling with mental health. But because they come from Africa, we allow them. Look at a plant called endon from Ethiopia that has actually helped America to unclog their sewer systems. But it has been patented, and if you are an Ethiopian and you want to use it, you must get permission from America, Toledo University. Yet it was actually a plant that was gotten from Ethiopia. If you are able to document all these things, we will make Kenya greater, we will make Africa greater.
The wonderful thing about Africa is you have this oral tradition. And we have these stories from our grandparents that we carry down. And I think it is about, as Millie said, documenting them. I think those of us who have written have a responsibility to actually mentor others. When I think about the first things that I published, they were with professors that I had worked with.
Well, across our borders, Russian President Vladimir Putin has extended his congratulations to Donald Trump on his victory in the U.S. elections. Speaking at an international forum held in Sochi, Putin expressed a willingness to work with the new American administration and indicated a hopeful outlook for future relations between the two countries. During Putin's address, which lasted several hours and covered a wide range of topics, he also spoke of the assassination attempt on Donald Trump in July, terming Trump courageous. Putin's statement suggests a potential thaw in U.S.-Russia relations, which have been strained due to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine and sanctions imposed on Russia. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden has pledged a peaceful transition of power to former President Donald Trump following the latter's victory in the 2024 presidential election. In a brief statement, Biden emphasized his commitment to upholding democratic norms and ensuring a smooth handover of the presidency, even as the nation remains divided over the results.
For over 200 years, America has carried on the greatest experiment in self-government in the history of the world. And that's not hyperbole, that's a fact. We're the people. The people vote and choose their own leaders, and they do it peacefully. And we're in a democracy. The will of the people always prevails. Yesterday, I spoke with President-elect Trump to congratulate him on his victory. And I assured him that I'd direct my entire administration to work with his team to ensure a peaceful and orderly transition. That's what the American people deserve.
And President Duma Boko has been sworn in as Botswana's 6th head of state after his landslide election victory, kicking out Botswana Democratic Party that has been in power for nearly 60 years. Under his umbrella for democratic change, President Duma Boko has pledged to create up to 500,000 jobs and build 100,000 houses in 5 years, cut water and electricity tariffs, and introduce health insurance for every citizen. Boko further noted that his priority will also be to stabilize relations with partners in the diamond industry while diversifying the economy away from its dependence on the international diamond market. President Boko, who has been in opposition for 3 decades, however, praised the peaceful handover as an example of democracy in action. The Botswana Democratic Party defeat was a major blow for former President Mokgweetsi Masisi, who was elected in 2018 and had been confident of securing a second term.
Today, our country is claiming its space in a galaxy of stars, thanks to the statesmanship exhibited by our former President Mokgweetsi Eric Kiabetswe Masisi. Please give him some love. Please hug him in your soul. Please embrace him in your heart. Masisi, Botswana has set the example of a true democracy at work for the whole world to see and emulate. For that singular act, the former president will remain inscribed prominently in our hearts. He's written his name in flaming letters into the portals of eternity. The message I impart is that this is one republic, one nation under God. Lines are drawn in the sand and blown away by the wind. We cannot allow ourselves to be drawn into squabbles.
Well, on today's conundrum, we want to speak about the femicide menace, saying stop killing our women. In the last few months, Kenya has witnessed a disturbing rise in femicide, with more than 100 women falling victim to brutal murders across the country. Yet, despite the shocking statistics and mounting public outcry, the government's response has been painfully inadequate. The murder of women, some of whom have been subjected to horrific violence and mutilation, seems to be treated as a mere statistic rather than a national crisis. Investigations have largely stalled, and only a handful of suspects have been arrested or brought to trial. Even more troubling, some of these suspects have managed to escape from custody, undermining any faith in the country's criminal justice system. The discovery of some femicide victims with missing organs has raised serious questions about whether these murders are linked to ritualistic practices. While there is no definitive evidence to confirm such claims, the pattern of organ removal has led to speculation that these killings may be tied to dark occult practices. In a nation where religion plays such a central role in the lives of many, one would expect the church to be a vocal advocate in the fight against gender-based violence. After all, the church preaches the sanctity of life, love, and respect for one another. Yet, in the face of femicide, the church seems to be a silent witness. The church has a unique and influential platform that could be leveraged to call for the protection of women, challenge harmful cultural norms, and demand justice for the victims. Well, the absence of clear justice, or rather clear leadership on this issue, raises questions about the accountability of those in power. Wait a minute, does Kenya even have an interior cabinet secretary who can be held responsible for coordinating responses to gender-based violence across the country? The establishment of gender desks in police stations was intended to provide a dedicated space for addressing issues of gender-based violence, including femicide. However, are they of any tangible impact so far? As much as it is crucial for women to be modest, is it just for a woman to be killed on account of what she is wearing or where she works? It is clear that a cultural shift is needed if femicide is to be stopped. Men need to be adequately educated on the need to protect women and end this cycle of violence. The justice system must be reformed to ensure that perpetrators are swiftly arrested, prosecuted, and punished. The church must also use its voice to advocate for women's rights and condemn violence against them. The government must take immediate, tangible action to address femicide. If only we could see the same speed used to settle political scores used to end femicide, what a safe country we will be in. And that is today's conundrum. Well, it's a wrap on Newswatch tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Tess Njenga, and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. Till I see you next time, have a good night.